Everybody, it is February 21st, 2026, and today we're going to be diving into the upcoming weather pattern to see what the weather has in store for us. Now, I'm very sorry that one, did not upload, and two, that I didn't live stream or do any uploads during the week. It did snow on Thursday, the 19th, but I didn't think it was enough for a live stream. So, sorry about that, and also I've just been really sick lately, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little funny. But let's dive right into the forecast. So, as of right now, we can see an Arctic shot up here in Alberta, Canada, and we can also see mainly everything west of the Rockies is going to be experiencing some rather cooler conditions, while everything east of the Rockies is starting to warm off. But as we scroll on, you can see we start to go back to reality with the east here getting another Arctic shot while we start to heat up for folks out west. And then as we reach the end of our run here, you can see an Arctic shot getting itself prepared to head probably into the west, because this, I'm just going to assume this for now, is going to be a ridge of high pressure right here, potentially blocking the Arctic shot from going into the east and pushing it into the west. But that's just my opinion. And actually, that reminds me, I forgot to open a certain tab, so I'm just going to do that real quick by doing this. This is kind of a sneak peek of what I do before I film. So this is kind of what I'm going to do right now. I got to go to... And then we'll look at this a little later. But first we got to go back to where we were. I am so sorry about the delay, guys. I forgot to open that tab. But anyways, that is just about it for our 2-meter temperature anomaly. Looking at our... Actually, now I have my tabs messed up. Okay, we're going to look at a new thing here. This is our 3-hour precipitation. It's not actually 3 hours, though, so there's a chart down here. Snow is this kind of blue stuff right here. Freezing rain is going to be kind of this red stuff. I don't have any examples on the map. Rain is going to be green and stuff like that. As we scroll on, you can see a system moving into the Pacific Northwest. You can see that low moving across here. As we see, that could be something here. As we scroll on here, you can see there's this system that we see moving in, not to mention the low pressure up here in Canada. Down here, you can see right over Ohio, you can see this low. In northern Ohio, you could see maybe some freezing rain or sleet. There's some chances, but it looks like freezing rain. And just north of that, over the Great Lakes region, is where the snow is. And as we scroll on, we start to... Oh, that's the end of our run, actually. This is on the 27th. You can see the system is starting to look more like a nor'easter. But we'll keep an eye on that as we update our runs. Looking at our 2-meter temperature in Fahrenheit, you can see that as of right now, it's very cold here in the west and pretty warm down south in the southeastern United States. But as we scroll on, the runs are actually just updating, so I am very sorry if this is just too quick. But not to worry, I will try for a video this afternoon, but if there isn't, there will be a video on Sunday morning. Looking at our 500 millibar height dam and anomaly M. You can see there is a trough in the middle of the country, a massive monstrosity of a ridge here, kind of by the Gulf of Alaska, if you will. We've got a very strong trough here shielding us from this ridge. As we scroll on, the runs are still quick, so I apologize if this is a little bit fast. As we scroll on here towards the end, you can see a trough may start to try to come give us some troughing out west. So let's pray that that happens, because we need that for our snowpack. And just like I said, we might have ourselves a nor'easter system as we go on through the 23rd. Looking at our total precipitation in inches first. This is as of right now today on the 21st. It's actually pretty dry unless there's some storm systems, like we said, in the southeastern United States. Also some systems here in the Pacific Northwest. and very, very, very mild systems here by the Great Lakes region, and so on. As we scroll on, we can see this system in the Pacific Northwest intensify. Same can be said for the Southeast and Great Lakes region. As we scroll on through the 23rd and the 24th, as we reach the end of our run today, this is on the 24th of February, you can see this system got much intensified here in the Pacific Northwest. We've also got an intensified precipitation streak here. Like I said, this looks like a potential nor'easter. Looking at our 168-hour precipitation as of on the 28th, you can see there's an intensified system of precipitation in the Pacific Northwest, which is what we already said, our nor'easter-like system. Here in the Northeast, well, everything else, unless you're in the Northern Rockies here of Idaho and Montana going into, Alberta and British Columbia, there's also some precipitation for you. As we scroll on through the days, you can see that we kind of lose that precipitation in the Pacific Northwest, and then it kind of fluctuates as we go on. You can see this is how it looks on the 28th. This is how it looks on March 8th. You can see that the precipitation has calmed down a little bit. Looking at our cumulative max 10-meter wind gust in miles per hour as of right now on the 21st, you can see, actually let's look at all of them real quick. So this is our let's look at our 10-meter wind gust in miles per hour. This is on the February 21st. As we scroll on, now the 22nd, this February 22nd at around 6 a.m. So this is very early in the morning. As we scroll on through the day, you can see there's actually some kind of wind system here. If you look right here, out over the coast, but that's our nor'easter that we've been talking about. Doesn't seem to be affecting anything too much, but it really depends on if those winds shift westward, then it could affect us, but it obviously depends on things. Looking at our 10-meter wind gust, and you can see there's actually the same system here as we scroll on to the 23rd. Also appears to be a system here in the Pacific Northwest, just out over the coast, but has the potential to move inland, although it seems to just kind of stay the same, but that can obviously change. As we go to our wind speed, you can see it's pretty much a similar story to as we already saw. So without further ado, let's look at our 250 millibar height dam and anomaly speed knots. So this is actually our jet stream right here. You can see we have a very nice jet stream. Has the potential for potentially, I don't want to throw out feet of snow just yet, but there's always that potential. If you live miles, like 500 plus miles north of it, you'll likely get nothing. If you live 300 and under miles north of it, there might be some snow or things like that. So the best thing is to be decently far. You want to be under it or just a few miles, if not 300 miles north of it. That's when things start to get interesting. But obviously the jet stream doesn't just determine that. We also need to see cold temps, precipitation, and if things align perfectly. If all those things happen, then chances are there could be some snow. If you live south of it, then it's also likely not much. You want to be north of it is the ideal. But you can see we have this nice jet stream, and as we scroll on through the days, we can see on the 22nd, you can see that the Pacific Northwest might start to get some red, so that would be good for our snowpack out west. This jet stream kind of goes like this, so it's going to be affecting everything north of Interstate 80 is my best guess. So let's hope that this jet stream continues to show us what it's truly about. Looking at our visibility in miles, you can see as of right now there is a big system of intense visibility here in southern Texas. You may only be able to see 0.1 miles, so please avoid driving if necessary. If you have to drive, always be cautious, go slow, and it could get very dangerous. So please don't take risks, don't go fast, take it easy. And driving is preferably something you would avoid. But as we reach our end of run, this is on the 22nd, so it's tomorrow, on Sunday at around 5 p.m., That's what it says here at 5 p.m. You can see there's a system potentially rolling into the Pacific Northwest, a system in the Gulf of Mexico, and a system in the Great Lakes region. Looking at our total snow 10-to-1 ratio in inches, not the extended forecast just yet. We'll get there though if you stick around. The run's very quick. This is still on the 21st. This is actually this afternoon at 2 p.m. You can see there's a snow system that might move into the Pacific Northwest. A system potentially moving into the Great Lakes region could drop a few inches. Looking at our Kachira ratio, you can see it's a pretty similar story. However, we can go all the way to the 24th and see similar things. Looking at our snow depth in inches on the 24th of February, you can see there's plenty of snow for the mountains out west. The slopes are going to be active and busy. As we see, the Northeast is also going to be lucking out on some snow, not to mention the Great Lakes region. As far as what the model is showing, nothing too far south is going to be affected. I have to look at this just because this is our freezing rain total. You can see there's some specks across Washington, Oregon, a little bit here. We've got Idaho, Montana, California, and parts of the Northeast. Looking at our positive snow depth change in inches. So this is just, inches. This is our positive snow depth change. So it's how much we change our snow depth. As we scroll on, we gain a few inches here in Ontario, Canada. We can see we get some here in the Northeast, not to mention the Pacific Northwest. And then as we scroll on through our days, we can see that there is some positive snow depth change. You can see we gained a few inches, maybe up to 12 inches in the Cascades of Washington. We gained maybe potentially a foot plus here in Alberta, Canada. Here, if you get lucky, not to mention a foot plus for Vancouver Island and very far south like Vancouver Island, British Columbia, that general area. Finally, we can look at our extended forecast. This is March 24th, 2026. You can see there is going to be snow, several feet of it actually, for the mountains out west and northeast. You could also look out on some snow, not to mention the Great Lakes region with those snow effect machines turned on. So we max out our run. The same story also begins. Looking at our 46-day snow. Yes, there will be snow in April. This is actually crazy. I've never seen snow in April before. But looks like this year's the year. It's a late winter for a lot of us out west. There could see several feet of snow, maybe even 4 feet in some spots in the Northeast, not to mention 5 feet plus for isolated spots in the mountains out west. So I'm talking the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, British Columbia, Sierra Nevada mountains of both Nevada and California, and not to mention the Rockies. And the Appalachians may also look out on some snow. Looking at our 7-day snowfall as of right now, or no, this is not right now, this is the extended. On February 27th, there could be a system rolling into the Pacific Northwest. On March 7th, there could also be a few inches being gained here in the Northeast, Rockies, and the Cascades. As we go on through March 17th, you can see this pretty much the same story. And as we go to April 2nd, actually let's go to April 1st just because it's April Fool's Day. Also, not to mention a little bit more widespread snow. Looking at our control, yes, the control model sucks. Not much snow as it used to show, but let's hope that this updates in our video this afternoon. I really hope that I can get a video in this afternoon, but if not, please be flexible and wait till the morning. There will for sure be a video in the morning, I promise. Looking at our snowfall in 7 days, so you can see on the 27th, there's a system in the Pacific Northwest. There's a system that kind of starts to come on here for the Sierra Nevadas of California. And as we scroll on, you can see there is another system here through right here in probably Quebec and Ontario, Canada. There's going to be a system. Looking at our 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook, and I will speak for you. I can't fit it all in my screenshot. I apologize for that. But however, I can tell you that there is going to be above average temps in the entire lower 48 states. Looking at our 8 to 14 day, it actually just gets worse. It is going to be generally very above average, so this sucks. We need a change for our snowpack, truly. Looking at our precipitation, 6 to 10 day precip, above average everywhere else except for the desert southwest. Looking at our 8 to 14 day, similar story, however, the southwest is still going to be below average. That is just about all the weather talk I've got for you today, so without further ado, make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with friends and family, and I will see you guys hopefully this afternoon, if not tomorrow morning. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in today's morning update.